right, so it's time to look at the more affordable, yet still premium and expensive Galaxy models, S20 and S20 Plus. And they map very closely, of course, to last year's S10, S10 Plus. In terms of form factor, the only difference between the Plus model and the non-Plus in the camera department is that you get a TOF sensor on the bigger one. So that's not a massive change. It'll give you a little extra information when it comes to that depth reading for the portrait modes and all the rest of it that's out there. Battery capacity is also going to be a little bit bigger. So we have the Ultra model at 5,000 milliamp hours, and then we have the Plus at 4,500, and we have the standard S20 at 4,000. So you've got a variety there. And then of course the price does the same thing. So you start at $1399 for the Ultra model, $1199 for the Plus model, and $999 for the standard S20. How's the color thing gonna work out? S20, Cosmic Gray, Cloud Blue, Cloud Pink, 6.2-inch screen, 4,000 milliamp hour battery. S20 Plus, Cosmic Black, Cosmic Gray, Cloud Blue, and S20 Ultra, Cosmic Black, Cosmic Gray. All right, that is a bit confusing. So I thought that these two would have the similar color options, but if you want a pink phone, you have to get the standard S20. You can't even get the Plus. Very interesting strategy. You know what Samsung's trying to say there, Will. Trying to say if you want a pink phone, you could only have the small one. It's a bit rude, as far as I'm concerned. I might want a pink version of the Ultra phone. Yeah, I actually wouldn't, but nonetheless, I guess this is the Cosmic Blue. It's kind of cool. It's a bit reminiscent of the color on this S10 Plus from the previous year, but it has a little bit more pearl to it, a little bit more reflection to it. It kind of shifts between blue, silver, and pinkish. This one, I mean, check it out. That's a super comfy hold. You end up with something that for single-handed functionality is just, wow, look at that form factor. It's kind of crazy. I should use smaller phones more often because you forget for single-handed functioning just how confident you are in the grip. This thing is slender and small, and I think it will attract some buyers just for that reason. Well, along with the lower entry-level price and still having a pretty high spec, you've still got the top-tier chip in there, the top Snapdragon, you still have plenty of RAM, and you've got a fairly big battery given the size. Plus, there's 5G in there, so yeah, $999 is still a lot of money for a smartphone, for any smartphone, let alone a flagship, but it's easier to approach than $1,400. I think we could all agree on that. So anyhow, the bigger one, you can see the difference. This is the in-between, and it is exactly that. It's in between. It's not as fat. The biggest difference for me from this one to the Ultra is that the depth of it, the width this way, what would you call that? The height of it, this one's less fat. So smaller battery, less fat, and of course, less of a bump out for the camera module. So when you put it on a table, it's gonna have slightly less wobble than the bigger brother. Granted, like I said in the past, you can kind of get rid of some of the wobble by putting some type of thin case on there with a little bit of a ramp, like this one right here. This will be an example of that. It probably makes sense to talk about the difference between these and the Ultra and how that works out with the camera units. So on the Ultra model, the main camera unit is 108 megapixels with some fancy binning technology going on, where Samsung says you're not going to take that typical hit that you would have by having a crazy megapixel count on a smartphone sensor. These ones, on the other hand, the main camera is a 64 megapixel camera, so it chops that in half, something more typical, something you're more used to. You still have the ultra wide setup and you have some zoom, but not as much as the crazy periscope-like zoom that exists on the Ultra model, and which they call space zoom up to 100x, but a lot of that is fancy tech on the software side towards the end of that zoom range. These ones are 30x, but expect each of these camera units to perform in a similar fashion. They have the same front-facing camera hole punch setup in the center of the device, so there is no more pill-style dual front-facing camera on the Plus model like you had in the previous version. They all share that symmetrical setup. And then the other piece is the fact that this one, both of these, also flattened out a bit from the previous version. So what that means for you is possibly fewer unintended presses. It's not a substantial difference, but it just flattened out ever so slightly. Maybe that gives you a little more confidence in the grip that you're not gonna tap the edge when you don't intend to. All right, let's give the speaker a run on the Plus model here. Why not? All right, so first things first, let's get that resolution up. 1440p. There's Willie Do with the clean desk. And as you can see, not too distracting. The hole punch is kind of the way to do it as it stands right now. I said it on the Ultra video. It's the same thing here. It's really not that distracting. Now I'm gonna turn up the volume. So the sound is firing out of 2 locations. I'm gonna give Kirk a listen on the microphone.
One day the rest of us will live like Will. It's just, we gotta put it together. You gotta tidy up every so often, and it's very difficult to keep it going. Anyway, Jack, you brought Casper today.
So speaker performance, very similar to the Ultra model and the previous models. It's not gonna blow you away, but it's pretty much what you'd expect if you actually do use the speaker. Also should mention, just like the Ultra model, no headphone jack here. So it's gonna be Galaxy Buds or AirPods or some type of adapter if you want to use wired headphones. That's just the nature of the beast. That's just the situation in 2020. It's over. Well, with the headphone jack, we can't even, there's no need to talk about it anymore, right? Camera performance, I expect it to be pretty similar as well. Of course, on the main lens, it is different than the Ultra, which I just tested moments ago. Just to have a comparison here, we'll take a picture of Will on the S20 Plus. And you can go back and compare. That's the main frame, couple ammo. There's our wide, 0.5. And there's your zoom at 3x where it goes by default. Now you can see you still have all the crazy zoom settings up to 30x. You can tap on those independently. You still have the Pro mode from the Ultra version. I mean, you have the best parts of the Ultra model device, with the exception of those hardware specifications. It just can't do everything that the Ultra does, right? There's no substitute for that periscope zoom situation and setup. There's no substitute for the extra battery capacity of 5,000 milliamp hours. There's no substitute for the bigger screen, I should mention. This is a big screen still though. That's 6.7 inches. AMOLED, inbuilt ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. It's got all the best stuff, but 6.7 versus the Ultra, which is 6.9. So that puts this one kind of in between the two. Makes it a really tough choice, an interesting choice. Of course, you save a few bucks over here, as I mentioned earlier. And then you go all the way down to 6.2 inches if you go for the little one. Now, the front-facing selfie camera, unlike the previous version where you had options, this one gives you, well, there's Jack right there. He's trying to put the camera in front of his face. They make it seem like you have a wide option, but it's barely any, it's a crop, really. So that's the wide, and that's your zoom. It's really not a substantial difference. You probably weren't skeptical of the camera performance on any of these things, and you're gonna have a choice to make now between these, whether you're gonna go for S20, S20 Plus, or S20 Ultra. You know the story for me. Obviously, I would be an Ultra guy just because, well, it's got Ultra in the name. I mean, because it has all the specs on it, and I'm a tech head, and that's kind of how it goes. And I've been carrying big smartphones, so it seems to be no end to how heavy or big of a smartphone you can carry. Plus, I'm sort of attracted to the 5,000 milliamp hour battery. One thing I'm not attracted to, the fingerprints that these glass back smartphones pick up, so I'll put a later case on any of them. Let's go ask Will which one it would be for him. Don't lie, we have all 3 options sitting here. It's the S20, the S20 Plus. Look how pretty those are, Will. S20, S20 Plus, S20 Ultra. Tell the truth. If you had a pocket one every single day for the next year, starting from this point forward, and you couldn't change your smartphone after the fact, which one would you select? Plus, you got to pay with your own money. So it's $9.99, $11.99, $13.99. What you got for it?
I think I'm going to go for the S20.
Stock.
Cheapest, yeah.
The little one. And you know why? Because you came from the Pixel.
Small form factor.
So hold it, Will. Check it out. It's a comfy hold.
It's nice. I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, no, and I don't think you're going to be the only one, to be honest. I think there's gonna be, it's very light, it's very comfy to hold. I think there's gonna be a lot of people that select that alongside the lower price point. You start to do the math, particularly between that one and the Ultra, talking about another $400. That's not nothing. It's mostly, for me, it's mostly the battery. You heard about my charge problems, people. I mean, if I can go one extra day sometimes without a charge, or like one night where you forget and you could just catch a quick boost, just very aware of the whole battery situation. I'm telling you, I got a problem. So let's go give Kirk the same option real quick. Of course, he heard Will's option, which might very well influence him, but we're gonna get to the bottom of it. For the rest of the year, oh, you're gonna hold them. He's gonna hold them all.
Because I like a small phone, but I know I gotta take the Ultra.
Just because you're having fun this time around, the cinema. He's gonna mess with the 8K.
Yeah, the camera is, and I like the way they designed this camera bump too, like with the little text down there. So I gotta go.
Kirk's a camera guy. He just got this new slider. I mean, he's gonna look at the cameras sitting around. Wherever he sits, there's cameras sitting around. I think camera enthusiasts are going to like this thing just because of the message it sends about how serious they are about cameras. This starts to look like a camera with a smartphone on it. And it says something about you when you pull this out. It's like, I'm serious about, now I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong, but that's how human beings buy things. People go buy a car with a spoiler on it or some nice rims. How often are you gonna drive it? You can't drive that thing full blast the whole time, but you're trying to send a signal. You're trying to say, look, this is what matters to me. I'm into it, I'm an enthusiast. This is the enthusiast phone, the Ultra version, in my opinion. So if you're a tech fan, you probably already know that. That's kind of what this represents. It's the F1 style. It's a need and a want to be on the fringe. It's all of the above. That's why the price tag is what it is. But I also feel you, Will. I feel what you're saying. On the day-to-day, there's a real practicality argument for the single-handed functionality, the comfort, and the confidence and the grip when you go for a one-handed smartphone like the standard S20, and you save yourself $400, which that's a few lunches for a guy like you. That'll buy you a couple of goji berries in the thermos. I'll tell you what.